If you've decided that you want to pay off your high-interest credit cards, you're in the right place. In this video, I'll walk you through putting together a plan to pay off your credit cards, and I'll share a few strategies that you can use to reduce the interest you pay and make it easier to pay off your credit cards faster. Hey, it's Aaron from Cards and Points. On this channel, I usually talk about credit card points and travel rewards, but today we're doing something a little bit different and talking about how to go about paying off credit card debt. So let's get started. Now, if you want to pay down your credit card debt, two things need to be true. First, your income needs to be greater than your ongoing expenses. You'll only be able to make progress paying down your credit cards if you have some money left over after paying your ongoing expenses like rent, groceries, and gas. Second, the amount that you pay to your credit cards every month needs to be more than the total amount of interest you're being charged. Now, there are some strategies that you can use to reduce the amount of interest that you're charged, and we'll get to those later in this video. Now, if these two things aren't true, then this video is not going to be helpful to you. If you're under a crushing amount of credit card debt, you might want to consider talking to a bankruptcy attorney. Now, I'm not an attorney, but you can find plenty of information online about how unsecured debts like credit card balances can be discharged in bankruptcy without requiring you to sell your house, sell your car, or liquidate your retirement account. But if you have the means to pay off your credit cards, these strategies can help you do that. Now, if we're going to talk about paying off debt, we should talk about Dave Ramsey. If you don't know of him, Dave Ramsey is a longtime content creator and author who is probably most well known for what he calls his debt snowball method. That method tells you that you should take an inventory of all of your debts, order them from the smallest to largest, and pay off the debts with the smallest balances first. And once those balances are paid off, take what you were paying every month and roll those payments into paying off your larger balances. Now, love him or hate him, Dave Ramsey's method works for a lot of people because it gives you a plan and a structure for paying down debt. And most importantly, it gives you a couple of quick wins that, for most people, provide motivation to keep going. But there are a couple of issues with Dave's method. First, when you look solely at the math, Dave Ramsey's method can be much worse than paying off your high interest rate balances first if your larger balances are also the ones with higher interest rates. Second, the method ignores easy wins that can dramatically reduce the amount of interest that you ultimately pay, and it ignores ways to consolidate and simplify your debt while reducing your interest rates. And finally, the method advocates for throwing as much money as you can at your debts to pay them down as quickly as possible. But draining your bank account every month to make more progress paying down a credit card can be counterproductive if it forces you to use other, more expensive debt, like payday lenders, to meet your ongoing bills. So let's say that you've gotten your income greater than your expenses, or at least you're on a path to get there. The first thing that you should do is take an inventory of your credit card debt. It's time to get out a sheet of paper and start making a list. For each of your credit cards, list your balance amount, the interest rate you're paying, the amount of interest you're getting charged each month, and the minimum monthly payment. Now, you can find all of this information in your monthly credit card statements. But if you don't have those handy, you can usually find this in your account online or by calling customer service. Once you've written down a list of all of your accounts, total up all of your minimum payment amounts. These minimum monthly payments will be what you need to pay on each account to stay current and avoid penalty interest rates and fees. Next, total up the amount of interest you're being charged each month. You'll need to pay at least this much before you start making real progress on paying off your credit cards. The next step in paying down your credit cards is to understand what you can afford to pay each month. And this is a matter of totaling up your income and expenses and creating a simple budget. Now, some people might tell you that you should pay as much as possible to pay down your credit cards as fast as possible, but that's not necessarily the best advice. If you pay an extra $100 to your credit card, but you come up short at the end of the month and have to go to a payday lender, you're not coming out ahead. Now, budgeting can be a little tricky because things like your electricity bill or how much you spend on groceries are likely to fluctuate a little bit. And if you work a job where your hours are variable, your pay may be different from week to week. However you create your budget, you need to understand what's coming in, what's going out, and how much cash you need to meet your ongoing expenses. Once you've figured that out, the difference is what you can put toward paying off your credit cards. Now that you've got your debt inventory put together and you understand how much you can afford to put toward paying off your credit cards, it's time to look for some quick wins. Quick wins are credit cards that you can easily pay off within a month or two. If you have some quick wins available, paying these off first can reduce the complexity of your personal finances and let you focus on making real progress toward paying off your credit cards with larger balances. Now, you might not have any quick wins available. For example, if you owe several $1,000s on a handful of credit cards, you're probably going to need more than a month to pay those off. But if you have a $50 balance on a random store credit card and you have the cash to pay it off, do it. You'll have one less account to manage and you'll be able to focus on paying off your other credit cards. Now it's time to start tackling those large credit card balances. When you're working to pay down your credit cards, you're in a race against interest. Every month that you carry a balance on a credit card, your bank is charging you interest, and you only make progress on paying down your credit card debt when what you pay during the month exceeds the interest that you're being charged. Now, one way to make more progress on paying off your credit cards is to make larger payments. But a lot of people forget that you can also make progress by reducing the amount of interest you pay, and this is a lot easier than you might think. In fact, many times all that this takes is a 5-minute phone call to your bank. And rather than tell you, I want to show you how this works.
This call may be monitored or recorded. What are the last 4 digits of your credit card number? Let me get someone to help you. Please hold.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I hope you're having a great day.
So I was wondering if it is possible to reduce my interest rate on purchases.
Well, let me take a look. Sometimes we can. So it's showing that I am able to reduce your interest rate to 18.24%, and that will take effect immediately.
What's the current interest rate now? Just curious.
22.24%.
Is there any conditions on that, or is it just you just reduce the interest rate and we're good?
That's it.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'd love for you to do that. Thank you. So just for me asking, Citibank was able to reduce my interest rate with no questions asked and no strings attached. Even a modest interest rate reduction can save you some serious cash. If you have a $10,000 credit card debt and a bank is willing to reduce your interest rate from 29% to 22%, that's a savings of $700 per year. And that savings, the interest that you're not getting charged every month, can mean that you can pay off your credit cards faster. So go through your debt inventory and call each one of your banks to see if you can get an immediate interest rate reduction. You might be surprised at how easy this is. If you want to go even further with reducing the amount of interest you're paying, you might want to look at a 0% introductory APR offer on a balance transfer credit card. Now, if you're not familiar with balance transfer credit cards, here's how they work. Let's say that you owe $3,000 on a credit card, and you find a new balance transfer credit card that offers a 0% interest rate on balance transfers for 18 months. When you open the new balance transfer credit card, you can tell the new bank that you want to transfer a balance from one of your existing credit cards. Most banks will walk you through this process during the application, and in the end you'll have a balance on your new credit card at 0% for 18 months and have paid off your old credit card. Now, a lot of people use balance transfers to reduce the interest that they pay, but you can also use a balance transfer to consolidate multiple credit card balances onto a single account. And when you do this, you'll simplify managing your credit card debt if you have several credit cards with balances. Now, this might sound like you're just moving debt around, but remember, in taking advantage of a balance transfer credit card, you're getting a 0% interest rate for sometimes as long as 18 to 24 months, which can help you pay down your balances faster since you're not accumulating interest. While balance transfer credit cards can save you a ton of money, they do come with some caveats. First, you'll often pay a 3 to 5% fee upfront for an introductory balance transfer, but compared to a 29% interest rate, you'll come out way ahead within just a few months. Second, you need to watch out for cards that have different interest rates on purchases and balance transfers. If your card has a 0% introductory interest rate on balance transfers, but no introductory rate on purchases, be aware that any purchases you charge to that card will get charged a regular credit card interest rate. And worse, because of the way that credit card issuers apply payments to your account, you'll need to pay through your entire balance transfer before you're able to pay off that single purchase. It's a good idea to either use balance transfer credit cards solely for balance transfers, or find a credit card that offers a 0% introductory interest rate on both purchases and balance transfers. Finally, you need to make sure that you're making at least the minimum payment to your credit cards and paying on time every month. That 0% interest rate will jump to the card's default rate if you miss a payment, and that will quickly negate any interest savings that you had. So you've called your banks and gotten interest rates on your credit cards reduced, and maybe you've transferred a few balances and have 18 months of 0% interest on one of your new cards. Now it's time to pick which credit card you want to pay off first. Go to your debt inventory and find the account with the highest interest rate. That's the account you'll want to work on paying off first. So after you've made all of your minimum payments on all of your accounts, put all of your additional payments toward that account. The logic behind this is simple. By paying your highest interest rate account first, you're reducing the amount of interest you're being charged every month by the greatest amount. Once you've completely paid off your highest interest rate account, continue to the account with the next highest interest rate. And after you've paid off that account, keep working through your debt inventory until you've paid off all of your cards. The reality is that paying off credit card debt is probably going to be a long-term project, especially if you've accumulated a lot of credit card debt. But the tips that I've shared in this video can help you pay less interest and make more progress toward paying off your credit cards. Finally, I just want to let you know that you can do this. I have a number of friends who have paid off credit card debt, and these are the tips and strategies that I've shared with them that have helped them along the way. Of course, if this video was helpful, it would be great if you could give it a like and share it with a friend. But what I'd love even more is that in a few months or a few years, once you've paid off your credit card debt, that you come back to this video and let us know down in the comments below so that we can celebrate with you. And then we can start talking about earning credit card points and travel rewards. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.